Okay, we're going to start with the nation. No new revelation by FBI on Tinubu says presidency. China asks U.S. to end tariffs. Trump envoy conveys stronger U.S. interest in Paris. Christians mark Palm Sunday, that was yesterday. Pope Francis opens Holy Week. House of Reps panel for oversight in rivers. Second phase of contactless passport issuance begins. National asset audit to unlock 65 trillion naira. 700 megawatts boost for national grid. And Trump tariff may be a blessing. Which other one? The construction? Okay. Of 777 billion naira Abuja Kaduna Road begins. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I could start with the Minister for Power saying that our investments are behind the national grid security. So the federal government has said the national grid has been stabilized with additional 700 megawatt transmission capacity. The Minister of Power, Chief Debaya Adelabu, said this at the weekend when he received the European Union ambassador to Nigeria, Gautier Mignon, in his office in Abuja. And he said, we have installed almost 90% of this and they are working. And that has improved transmission capacity by over 700 megawatts, which is the result of what we're seeing now in terms of relative stability in the transmission grid. Now, before now, at the time, the supply to the grid entered 5,000. The grid is unstable, it shakes, it collapses and all that. Now we're having an average of 5,000, excuse me, 7,000, 8,000 megawatts. So it's not by accident, it's because of the activities of government. They also said, the administration has recorded 2 major milestones in the power sector ever in Nigeria. It said number 1 is the highest average daily power consumption. Over 20,000 kilowatt hour was achieved, which was never achieved before. And continuing, in continuation, he also said the Nigerian electricity supply industry, that's NESI, has transmitted and distributed highest energy of 5,801.63 megawatts as the latest feat. He said we have also achieved transmitted and distributed highest energy in the volume of 5,801, which has broken the previous record achieved in 2021. And lastly, we have achieved the valuable generation capacity of 6,000 megawatts ever in Nigeria. So that is why he's saying that when you put in some level of activity, you'll see the results. And, he talked about how the European Union should continue to provide technical, financial, and other assistance to Nigeria, especially to the power sector, which is driving the force of the economy. So with all these achievements, now let's see if we'll not have any more, power grid failure.
Okay, so let me take the major headlines. So the presidency yesterday clarified that the investigative records on the president, which the U.S. court ordered the FBI and the DEA, that's the Drug Enforcement Administration, to release are not new. The president advisor, that's the presidential advisor on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, was speaking, said that there's nothing revealing the 30-year-old reports. Also, one of the president's counsel, Mr. Femi Obabatunde Ogala, SAN, said that there's no restriction on the president's trips to the U.S. and the president has traveled to the U.S. since 1994, and he has been granted the rights of ingress and egress into the country. There's nothing new in the case that has not already been part of the public domain. And in a brief response, he just dismissed the buzz because there was a recent buzz about all the documents that was released by the FBI, and said there's nothing new in these documents. We already know about it, and they're all in the public domain, so he doesn't know what the buzz is all about. Okay?
Yeah. I have the barrage of tariffs initiated by the United States President Trump. It's been described as a blessing in disguise for African countries. This is according to the Solid Minerals Development Minister, Dele Alake. And he said this during a fireside chat session on foreign direct investment with the theme, The Alchemy of Foreign Direct Investment, Turning Policies into Prosperity for Emerging Global Markets. And this was the 14th edition in Abu Dhabi. He said that African countries, that this has called for African countries to adopt an introspective approach by looking inwards and adjusting their domestic policies to focus more on intra-African trade with little dependence on external forces. He says we need to organize our economic imperatives to ensure a balance of trade and strengthen intra-African trade among ourselves. The time is now. And he said that it shouldn't continually be where, you know, our raw materials are taken from our country and then carted off to, you know, different countries, siphoned outside of the continent, and that this should no longer prevail. He says interested investors who wish to come into Africa are welcome to set up their factories in Africa, add value to our mineral resources and create jobs here rather than just shipping our wealth out of shores. So these are, as we know, narratives that we've always encouraged, and it's good that he's saying this. So he's saying that this tariff would allow us think again really about how we would want to position ourselves in the market.
Yeah, so it's helping us to think actually, because the federal government have decided to audit the national assets. They said the federal government could unlock not less than 65 trillion from the ongoing audit of national assets in a major move that further hedges the nation's fiscal balance. They said the national asset could exceed 65 trillion. That's about $40 billion. They said that this audit is first of its kind in many decades and is being coordinated by the Ministry of Finance. They said the audit was a major step in government fiscal reforms aimed at ensuring the country optimized its assets as part of the government's $1 trillion economy agenda. And it also said that it's going to enable the government to take critical decisions, including raising funds through the assets to implement major infrastructural and economic empowerment projects. And they also said that the current market values estimated the collective worth of countries' verified national asset at the same $40 billion. So they mentioned all the sectors of the economy that they are hoping that the revenue will come from there. You know. So they also said that the assets, the assets include physical real estate assets and holdings in strategic institutions and companies in financial services, oil and gas, power and transportation sectors, amongst others. So they listed all.
Moving on now to the Punch. Battle for Rivers, AGF moves to defend Tinubu as PDP governors mobilize 11 SANs. Presidency dismisses U.S. court order on Tinubu and Atiku defers. FD rolls out flood preparedness campaign in 30 high-risk states. Autonomy, 774 local government challenge federal government states in court Tuesday. Abdulkarim's anti-Tinubu song gains streams as Soyinka slams NBC. I have the Abdulkarim story. So veteran music Nigerian rapper Idris Abdulkarim's protest track Tell Your Papa has recorded a remarkable milestone despite being banned by the National Broadcasting Commission. The song, which criticizes President Bola Tinubu's administration, has gathered attention of several Nigerians and has been making waves on social media. According to the statistics, YouTube Tell Your Papa has garnered over 22,754 views on YouTube and 1,200 likes since it has actually skyrocketed to 82,000 since it was released. On Spotify, the song has also reached a notable milestone of over 30,000 streams, indicating that Nigerians are still streaming. NBC had actually banned them from showing it on terrestrial and on the linear channel. So the commission cited a breach of broadcasting code, but Idris Abdulkarim obviously responded saying that by condemning the government for criticizing and banning his music, saying that obviously this government does not is being insensitive and vindictive of songs that criticizes the government. Interestingly, Professor Wole Soyinka also condemned the NBC over the ban, describing it as a return to the culture of censorship and threat to rights of free expression, which I completely agree with, because the truth is that it was totally wrong. I mean, the president didn't ask you to ban it. Somebody in NBC just felt that, okay, this song is criticizing the president, and then bans it. And whatever you do, it's like you're doing it on behalf of the administration. And it was quite wrong. I think it was really wrong for whoever did that initiated this ban. It was wrong for them to do that. But we have to go on a very short break now. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.